merry meet and fare thee well. Settle in for a story with me, Astin Gaël. Thank you so much for being here today. This is your every other day collective message for June the 18th. It is Friday Eve. What you got going for the weekend? I will be working on another blog post this weekend for the letter R called A Recipe in Reciprocity. So be sure to check the community tab. Not only will there be updates for what we can expect in the month of July, there will also be updates about the herbal medicine I am concocting for trans men, and that is where you can follow the links directly to the new blog posts. If you have not already seen the short in the YouTube Shorts feed, be sure to go and check that out. I have free readings on offer for the entire month of June. Go see if that applies to you. Everything else you need to know is in the description box down below, including how you can help support the channel. And by all means, please support the channel. It is very much appreciated, and no amount is too small. If you cannot support the channel financially, a like on this video, a subscribe to the channel, a comment down below, a share onto another social media platform, these are all ways that you can help, and they are also very much appreciated. We are working our way through What There Is to Love About a Man. Every day we read a short excerpt and we try to create a short story around the theme of that excerpt. Today's theme is commitment. What's all this talk about fear of commitment? He signed up for 2 postgraduate degrees and $100,000 in loans. And he's committed to seeing them all the way through. He signed on as a soldier in the middle of a war, and that's a commitment you don't walk away from. He spends every single Sunday with some boys from the shelter, and he knows how they'd feel if he failed to show up. His personal commitment is to heal his home planet, and he gave away his car to prove that it's real. He committed to improving public education, and he's in the classroom every week helping kids learn to read. He tithes his income every year without fail. He's building a center for injured birds of prey, and he'll keep going until it's complete. He's committed himself to the people he loves, and they know they can trust his commitment. He is focused on what counts and what won't be derailed, and that is the sign of true commitment. Funny that we think of a little piece of paper and a ring as signs or symbols of true commitment. And yet the divorce rates are so high, and the infidelity within those monogamous commitments, although I know not every married person is married and monogamous, but more often than not. And it's just blatantly not committal. And yet, to the rest of society, wearing that ring or having that piece of paper says that you are a person that is capable of committing. Not sure why that seems so significant, but felt the need to say it. All right, we've got the Viking Valor Tarot deck. We used it for the first time in the reading from the 16th. This is its second use. I quite enjoy these cards, if I'm being perfectly honest. They're very slick. They shuffle really easily. And they're very light in the hands. So, be sure to grab one if you are a follower of the Norse gods. I think you would enjoy it. All right, speaking of the Norse gods, they do like commitment. So let's ask the Allfather what commitment looks like. Commitment. All right, so the King of Swords upright. One of my favorite characters, Ragnar Lothbrok. Well, talk about a committed man. I only know the character from the Netflix show Vikings. I obviously know that show was based on real history, but they probably deviated quite a bit. So I'm not going to say I know anything about the real Ragnar Lothbrok, but the character was a very committed man. Not necessarily to his wives, but monogamy was not necessarily a revered characteristic in their times. But committed to the gods, absolutely. Yeah, and so the Queen of Swords in the reverse. Yeah, like I said, not necessarily committed to the women that this individual takes on. Maybe also not necessarily committed to balancing one's masculine and feminine. But I wouldn't say that that's something that the Allfather necessarily values either. Not saying that it's not valuable, I'm just saying it's not something that he pushes you towards. All right, the Chariot in the reverse. Justice in the reverse. The World upright. The Emperor upright. The Six of Pentacles in the reverse. And the Ten of Wands upright. Okay, so The Allfather sees a King of Swords in the upright, a character that is similar to Ragnar Lothbrok. A little imbalanced in their masculine and feminine, probably leading with a lot more masculine energy right now. And because of that, they are not necessarily moving forward. They're not flowing forward. They are moving forward, but I'm seeing an image of myself a few weeks ago pushing a Target shopping cart back to the vehicle. The cart had a fucked up wheel, and inside the cart were 3 tubs of cat litter. Those are 35 pounds each, by the way. So a little over 100 pounds of cat litter, broken wheel on the cart. Every time I get the cart to flow forward, it only does that for about 15 seconds. And then I'm visibly like pushing the cart the way that the men from CrossFit push tires. There's a lot of force. So this person that is acting in a rather masculine air sign energy, they might be very forceful with their speech right now, and because of that, they're just not going forward in a manner that is smooth and easy. The 8 of Cups upright. Some of the things they say hit home and resonate with people, and some of the other things that they say make people feel uneasy in some sort of way. This is all happening because this person feels like they've been done wrong in some way, that an injustice has occurred. I assume by someone that is showing up here in the Emperor energy. And it's interesting because this is Thor, and we're talking to the Allfather, which is rumored to be Thor's father. Although that's debated. So this King of Swords has just recently completed a cycle with this Emperor in the upright. It required a lot of effort on both of their parts to fully walk away, to fully be done. The cycle had to come to a close because there was just never going to be an equilibrium established between these two. One was always going to be over giving, the other was always going to be overtaking. The 5 of Wands at the bottom of the deck, there was always going to be turmoil and strife. very specifically related to feeling unsatisfied, unfulfilled. Um, Tell me more about this Six of Pentacles in the reverse. So, seeds that were planted by this King of Swords and this Emperor together. They may have been business partners, they may have been lovers, they may have just been friends. But whatever the case, seeds were never going to come to fruition. They were never going to fully fruit. Why is that? Well, there wasn't enough water. And with that Four of Cups, I was getting that same energy, a lack of water energy, a lack of emotion. I think even in business connections, even in business partnerships, there needs to be a certain level of emotion shared. And certainly in lover connections, there needs to be some sort of emotions shared. Otherwise, what are you really doing with one another? You know? Yeah, you can definitely have a happy home without emotion, but only in the sense of we're avoiding all stress and strife because we just don't look at any emotions. So you're avoiding conflict, but you're also no longer getting to experience joy. You're avoiding heartache, but you're also not creating any sort of intimacy. Um, you're avoiding a fallout when it comes to a business, but you're not necessarily generating any growth. I also want to say these two had very different, like day-to-day routines, and the cycle is coming to a close to restore both individuals to a routine that actually suits them. One where they're not going to be overworked. Tell me about this Ten of Wands. So there could be a new job opportunity coming in for one or both of these people. That change is what's going to free one or both of them from the stress of being overworked. Can we get some insight onto the incoming news? So this incoming opportunity is not one that is going to have whoever is receiving the opportunity. It's not going to have them doing a whole bunch of shadow work or looking at oneself. There's not going to be a whole lot of transformation. It might just be humdrum, you know. It would be like going from, I don't know, being a therapist, or maybe like even like a massage therapist. Have you ever thought about how much stress those people take on? They're physically using their hands to rub stress out of other people's bodies all day long. It's got to be exhausting, really. Um, so think about moving from a job like that to, I don't know, accounting or like keeping track of inventory in a retail store, stocking shelves at a grocery store. Like, yes, your brain is not necessarily going to get very much stimulation, but you're also not absorbing the stress of every single person that lies down on your massage table. Um, it's restoring peace. But it's also going to test their faith. In what way? Okay, so if these two are lovers, the King of Swords and the Emperor, um, and they live together, um, this new opportunity is going to alter their home life in such a way that if the cycle coming to an end was going to result in a full separation, now it is not. It's like, mm, it's like living with somebody for so long that you stop being lovers and you start being roommates, and then I don't know, maybe one of you works the day shift and one of you works the night shift for a year, and when that comes to a close, you're like in a new relationship all over again. It'll be something like that. This opportunity will provide a break in the story, in the connection, for just long enough to restore things to, like I said, a state of peace. There's some sort of unrest being experienced by this King of Swords or this Emperor. And we started with talking about commitment. I want to say that these two are not non committal, more like their commitment needs to undergo a change, a shift in perspective in order for it to continue and be productive and happy for both parties. All right, that's what I have for you today. Until next time, be well, be you.